Next up at UFC Vegas 80, we have the main event of the evening. We have Grant Dawson taking on Bobby Green. Grant Dawson 20-1 overall, 4-0-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that upset win over Damir Ismagulov. He's taking on Bobby Green, 30-14, 2-2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that win over Tony Ferguson at UFC 291. I don't know why I said Ferguson. Anyway, Grant Dawson is
because that's when you watch Tony fight these days. Goo. No, it's goo. Do you know what that's from?
No.
Yikes.
Tell me.
Yikes.
From nothing. Grant Dawson's a grappler. This guy averages almost 4 takedowns per fight. He's got a nice ground game with absolutely relentless grappling pressure. Good technical striking, but wrestling is going to be the game plan pretty much every single fight. He started his career at 145 pounds. He has moved up to 155 pounds. Hasn't really skipped a beat, and he's coming off that underdog win over Damir Ismagulov, where he had 3 takedowns and 12 minutes of control time. And that is indicative of his style. He is a boring wrestler who 100% of the time is just going to charge forward, look for those takedowns, and then just lay on top. And I'm not trying to be offensive. I mean, this is the get wins game, get paid game, and that is Grant Dawson's game plan. And it works for him. He is fighting Bobby Green. Bobby Green's the opposite. Instead of let me be as boring as possible to get these wins, Bobby Green is a showboat style striker. He's going to put out volume. He's going to get his hands going. He's going to, that Roy Jones Jr. hands at his waist, swinging kind of guy. He's a busy striker. He has great volume, incredible defense, and up until 2020, he had slick wrestling as well. I'm specifically calling out 2020. I'll explain that in a second.
COVID.
Doesn't really, well, I don't know why. I'm just going to walk through the stats about this wrestling. Not really, no. I think memory loss might have been one of the things.
Well, you just
but he
ate through that whole thing.
What? Oh, asshole. Anyway, Bobby Green doesn't really typically have one-punch knockout power. Yes, he knocked out Al Iaquinta in one punch, but the reality is Bobby Green's sort of a volume striker who will TKO you over time. Does have wrestling, hasn't used it in a while, and he seems to be sort of in the twilight of his career. I'm a name. Let me just get these fights. Let me get paid. Let me go out there, have a little bit of fun. At one point in time, Bobby was like making real stuff happen, getting the big fights, doing things. And this is a big fight, but he doesn't fight like they're big fights, if that makes sense. He's going to come out. He's going to swing. He's going to do that whole thing. But he's not going to mix in the takedowns. He's not going to do the extra things that maybe he should do to try to get a win. Mixing in takedowns or threatening them is important in this fight. Maybe not the most important thing in the world, but in general, it's important because trying to mix in those takedowns gets people worried about, oh, he's going to do this. Oh, I need to worry about that. All you need to worry about Bobby now is his strikes. And Grant Dawson just going to come forward and shoot a whole bunch of takedowns. And let me just give you that wrestling stat. Between 2017 and 2020, Bobby Green had 16 takedowns. He has had literally 0 since then. He's getting the fights, having fun out there, not really doing much else other than having fun, pumping the jab out there and seeing what happens. I think Grant Dawson's going to wet blanket his way to a win. I think this is a very, very, very boring fight with a ridiculous amount of control time. But Grant Dawson minus 425, that feels right. It could probably go even farther. So high confidence pick in Granty Dawson.
Yeah, I'm a big Bobby Green fan. I mean, King Green is
great.
Is one of my favorite fighters. I think I've literally picked him in like every single fight that he has had. I even sat here and said when he took that short notice fight against Islam, I sat here and was like, listen, this guy's got real wrestling credentials. Don't be surprised if he hangs with the wrestling, defends some takedowns, and he's obviously the better striker in Islam and could give Islam some trouble. That didn't happen, but that's how high I think of Bobby Green in his fighting abilities. He is a wrestler, or he's not a wrestler, but he has wrestling background. He can wrestle, he can defend takedowns, and he is, I think we both agree, 100% the better striker in this matchup. I mean, it's not even close. He's the better striker in this matchup. The issue is, and I also admittedly am a Grant Dawson hater. I fucking can't stand the guy. I said that Damir Ismagulov was going to come in and absolutely smoke this clown. And I've never seen in my life a grown man put another grown man in a fucking full Nelson. That's just grown man to grown man, let alone a professional fighter putting another professional fighter in a fucking full Nelson. He had Damir Ismagulov in a fucking full Nelson in the 3rd round of that fight. And ever since that moment, I was like, holy fucking shit. I'll show you the picture right now. I was like, holy fucking shit. This guy, I'm never going to pick against this guy again. The only thing that people are kind of worried about in this fight for Grant Dawson, and you're going to hear it time and time again, is, oh my God, he's going to get tired. 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 He might, but that's a big if. And to bet against a guy just hoping that he gets tired is like a very, very, it's not really a Hail Mary type situation, but it's a really big if, because even if he gets tired, and he has gotten tired in fights before, he's not a fucking quitter. This guy's 20-1 for a reason. Yeah, he might get tired. He might slow down. You might see him, even in one fight, he was like kind of pulling guard, but then he used that guard for a deep half, a sweep, to try and get back into those positions. He's not going to stop even when he is tired. And all the wrestling will also make Bobby Green tired. I mean, Bobby Green will get tired as well defending all that stuff. Neither one of these guys is really are quitters. This could go 5 rounds. I just can't pay. I mean, look at this. He did this to a professional fucking fighter. He's just got a full Nelson just fucking with this guy. I thought that Damir Ismagulov could be the fucking champion of the world. He's sitting there in the 3rd round in a fucking full Nelson. I'm going Grant Dawson in this fight. I just think he's just way too overwhelming. Just way too over. I mean, he just doesn't stop, man. He just does not stop. And even Tony got on the hips of Bobby in that fight. I mean, really got on the hips, was threatening to take the back of Bobby early in that fight. If Tony's doing that, I would love nothing more for Bobby to fucking win this fight. I'm going to be rooting for Bobby, but I think Grant gets it done, man, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I didn't want to. I love Bobby. Bobby's great. I guess I was just getting down on him because he was better. Like he literally used to be better. He's removing tools from his own arsenal. Before, when he had those nice takedowns, 16 takedowns in 3 years, and he was threatening with takedowns, and it just opened up his already phenomenal striking. Once you just remove the takedown threat entirely, well, now you're just a very good striker. Which in most fights, okay, that could get you by. But, Bobby Green had a nice streak. He was super popular. And the UFC's like, let's give him big fights. And then, a couple of short notice fights, couple of weird things later. And now,
And he's getting hit more and more. He used to be a guy that was like, you could not hit this guy. With the way that he fought, with those low hands and the Philly shell, you could not hit this guy clean. He's getting hit. I mean, Drew Dober was hitting him. Even Tony was hitting him at times in that fight. I mean, dropped him. He didn't really, he kind of more tripped and got dropped, but he's getting hit more and more as well. So even in the striking where he should dominate, and obviously I think he still can in this fight, you can see it just happens. You're 37, you start to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. No, exactly. And that's just the sport we live in. I think Grant Dawson is way too one-dimensional to lose this fight, if that makes sense. Typically, that's a problem, but he's just going to be so laser-focused on the wrestling. There's not even going to be – I don't think Bobby's going to have opportunities to do anything else.
You know what the quote that I heard when I was breaking down film that I love that you might like? He says, the only thing I need to know about my opponent is, are they southpaw? Are they orthodox? And what side do they guillotine from? And that's all I care about.
That's funny.
It's I know what I'm doing, and that's all I need to know. How do they stand, and which side do they guillotine from? And I'm good to go. That's pretty wild.
That is funny. That is funny. Yeah, that is. Especially because, I'm giving him a hard time for being boring. He's objectively boring. I don't care what anybody says. He would be bored by himself watching it. 12 minutes of control time is
especially
boring.
Too, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of times he goes to that body triangle if he gets your back.
Chills.
And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier for control. But if you really want to work for a finish, it's better to get the hooks in, flatten them out, and do all that type of stuff.
Nobody's moving with the
right with the body triangle. So he's content with just being boring, where he could just throw hooks in, try to flip him over, try to flatten him out, really chase finishes. He might lose the position, position. But to your point, he's fine with being boring.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and that's like he's you know exactly what he's going to do. You can trust him to do it. He's absolutely going to win this fight. And what I was saying is he's a boring wet blanket wrestler, right? But famously, he beat the Olympian and was like, crying in his post-fight interview, as he should have been, saying like, I barely wrestled till middle school or something. I forget what it exactly was. And he's like, and I just beat an Olympic medalist. And he's like, this is my proudest moment. And good for him. I mean, he is the epitome of look where hard work will get you. Because I don't think he's especially talented. I think Bobby Green's far more talented than Grant Dawson. But Grant Dawson works his ass off.
I mean, Bobby
shows
Green
up. Comes
might be one
forward.
of the most talented dudes in the UFC. That's not even joking. With his striking abilities mixed with his wrestling, he's a very overall. It's just I think it's just time has passed him, unfortunately.
I think once he realized I'm not going to get a title shot, he was just like, well, then let me at least make my money. So then he started like, yeah, I'll take short notice fights. Yeah, I'll be fun. I'll go out there. I'll put on a show. And it worked for him because we all love. I don't think you're going to find anybody that doesn't like Bobby Green. So anyway, that's the breakdown. We are both squarely on Grant Dawson, $9,400 in a main event with that kind of wrestling. I think he's a must play in your DraftKings lineup. Guys, become a premium member. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. It is only $10. And speaking of $10, I'll give you 5 times that. And the only thing you need to do is go to WeWantPicks.com/bets, sign up with any one of our betting partners, make a deposit, and I will send you $50 as a thank you. Got to use the link. It's affiliate marketing. You use my link, I get credit, and then I send you $50. It's just literally that simple. You can become a premium member with that money. Premium membership is going to get you the line movement tracker. You're going to get opening odds, current odds, win probability for every single fighter on every single card. You're going to get detailed data, metrics, and analytics to help you find your spots, avoid spots, do whatever you want with that data. But raw data from multiple sources takes a very long time to put together, and we do that for you. It is available instantly for every single fight. You're going to get courses. Jacob's gone. My internet just cut out. Incredible timing is what Jacob's text to me just said. You're going to get courses. A lot of people say, what the hell is DraftKings Fantasy? Well, this course is going to walk you through exactly what it is. Just click on more in the menu and then courses. You're going to get other analysts as well. Running Mouth. There's 3 people on the Running Mouth show. You're going to get all their bets, all their picks, all their insight. You're going to get Artem. You're going to get the Pick Doctor. He's an AI picking fights. Everything I mentioned, everything I didn't. WeWantPicks.com. Click become a member. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You don't want to be a member? That's fine. Like, subscribe, do those things. We appreciate you.